Hey guys, it's been a while. Haven't had much of an update, but some people asked me about the Profec boost controller, so I might as well do a quick tutorial on how to use it. It's this little guy. It's plugged into a 12 volt fuse somewhere in there. You can see it's kind of spliced in. That's what I did. Not the prettiest thing, but you won't see it anyway, so whatever. So it should turn on as soon as you turn on the engine. And there you go. There's the little sequence. Pretty cool. So right now it's turned off. It's off. It'll still read boost, but basically it's not regulating any boost. Let me close the door. Basically at this point it's regulating at the external wastegate springs, so whatever the springs are right now, with like my intercooler and all that, it maxes out at 20 psi off. So if I want to turn it on in this orientation, if you have this flipped around, it's going to be the opposite. But in my orientation, I hit this button and hold it for about 5 seconds, and now it's on. There are two settings. There's a low setting and a high setting. You could switch between them by just hitting the top button again, go into high, go back to low. And with the settings I have right now, this is the gauge, and then there's a max boost pressure. So if you want to adjust boost, you click the button on the bottom. That'll take you to like a little menu, and you could use the dial to go up and down. So this is my setting. The set is basically how much boost over you're going to do. So this is like a 25% increase in boost of what the springs are making. Technically, you'll just have to mess around with this to try and figure out what you want. This setting generally gets me around 21, 22 psi. You don't really have to touch the gain, just ignore that. The start, you could ignore that. The peak is just whatever the peak is. You can keep going down. There's a warning. This one's important. You want to set it just above where you want to be. So because what happens is once it hits this warning, it will start decreasing the boost via a limiter. So it stops you from over boosting. It's like engine protection stuff, which is really nice. I usually just set the limiter to about 5%. If you want to be really aggressive, you could do it to like 10. So if you want to select it, push down on the button. And right now my limiter is 5, but I could set it to 6, 7, 10. I could keep going, but back to 7. So that's all good. That's the end of the menu. If you're good, press the bottom button and it goes back. Something really cool, if you want to just adjust the boost on the fly, you could kind of just turn this dial and it gets you to the set, so you could automatically adjust boost. And then once you're done, hit the button and you're good. So same thing with high, you could do your entire different settings. So right now for high, my set is 35% instead of the 25%. This is giving me around 24 psi of boost. You can see the peak that I have right now is 24.7, and I have the warning at 24.3. So once it hits that, it'll actually limit it by 5%. So it will realistically be at like 23. But that's just engine safety stuff, and that's basically the boost controller in a nutshell. If you want to adjust certain settings, you actually have to turn it off. So let me just go back here, hold down the button on top for 5 seconds. I'm off, and the menu is slightly different here. This gives you the pattern, direction, and the brightness. So the pattern is the different types of screens you have. So right now I have it at the bar. If we do just digits and go back, you can see it's just the digits where it's just how much boost, but I generally like the other one better with the bar, just my preference, so I leave it at that. The direction is the orientation of the Profec boost controller, so if it says L, this is the orientation. If you have the Profec boost controller the other way where the giant knob is on the left, you would put this in right, and that would just adjust some of the button settings, so it should be a little better. Brightness, it's actually really fucking bright. So nighttime driving is kind of crazy and annoying. I recommend just putting at 0. And then units, it might come at bars, kPa originally. You might want to just set it to PSI for something that you're more familiar with. That's what I just did. And then there's like an alarm, there's a last doesn't matter. Style type C, I don't remember what this one was. Let's try it out, if it changes anything. Not really, but I'll just change it back just in case. There you go. Yeah, I think that's about it. Lock, don't ignore that. Last, I don't know what it is, ignore that. Alarm is the type of beeping it gives you when you go over a certain boost, so when it does the limiter. But yeah, that's about it.